Hi ladies, good afternoon. It is Sarah Shipton here from Scrapbooking with Sarah, and I am coming live to you today on Wednesday, September 10, but this was meant to be our Technique Tuesday live video for yesterday, September 9. Thank you so much for your patience with me. As many of you knew, you read my post. Thank you for being patient. I wasn't feeling very well yesterday, and I am happy to report that I'm feeling much better today. And I'm excited to share today's technique with you. We are featuring a new paper suite, a new scrapbooking workshop kit, and some new scrapbooking from scratch products during the month of September. And the scrapbooking workshop kit I'm going to be featuring is Peaceful Days, and it coordinates with the Peaceful Garden Suite collection. So I know it can be a little confusing that the scrapbooking workshop kit and the suite collection names are different. The reason for that being is that the name of the scrapbooking workshop kit is different because we don't want to give the assumption that the scrapbooking workshop kit is in the suite. So that is why the names of the kit and the suite are different. I hope that helps to clarify things. I know it's a little confusing, but we've got Peaceful Days and we have got Peaceful Garden. So super excited to share with you. Today we are featuring a double page scrapbooking layout in 12 by 12 inches. And I am working with a pattern from this pattern book. So this is from the Reflections Scrapbook program. We are doing pattern 2C, which you will find on page 28 of your book. If you don't have this book, I have posted the pattern in our Facebook group, and we are doing bottom borders. And you will note that the bottom border is going to run all the way along the bottom of your scrapbooking layout. This is a single page layout, which I have converted into a double page just by cutting everything twice. So first things first, you are going to need 2 sheets of either coordinating cardstock or coordinating designer series paper, which you will often hear me call DSP. So DSP is short for designer series paper. I am using the color Crumb Cake, which is one of the coordinating colors for Peaceful Days and Peaceful Garden. The 12 by 12 inch cardstock is two-tone, and you can see that I'm using the lighter side of the two-tone cardstock. So Crumb Cake, the original color, is on one side, and then you will have a lighter color of the Crumb Cake cardstock on the other side for the two-tone. So 2 sheets of coordinating cardstock or DSP. Then you're going to need 1 sheet of paper, which is 6 by 12 inches. Now, the reason I'm saying 1 is because when you cut that in half, excuse me, to spread that over a double page spread, you're going to need 2 pieces of 6 by 12 inch. So you can see here that I've used designer series paper. And in fact, I've actually used leftovers from my Peaceful Days scrapbooking workshop kit. So if you took 1 sheet of cardstock or 1 sheet of DSP and cut that in half at 6 inches, you're going to have your paper going across both 12-inch sides of your cardstock base. Now, if you look very closely, you might notice that my DSP actually stops here at about the 10-inch mark. Now, that is because I was using leftover paper from my scrapbooking workshop kit. You can purchase this designer series paper pack on its own, or also a pack with stickers. I was using the leftovers because I went to my market on Sunday. I actually have bought a second pack of the designer series paper, and I sold the paperback on Sunday, and then I went to make my layout on Monday morning, and I was like, oh my gosh, Sarah, you don't have the paperback, you sold it, you Nelly. So anyway, I went to my scrapbooking workshop kit and I found my leftovers, and it's worked really well. But I'm going to give you a tip that if you don't want to use 1 whole sheet of paper or cardstock and cut that in half, you can actually do a little bit of creative cutting, which I have done, and I'm going to give you some tips for that. So you will note that I actually don't have paper running the whole way through. It actually finishes at the 10-inch mark. And you know what? I've actually done scrapbooking layouts like that before, and it looks very effective. You can't really tell because most of it has been covered with my embellishment cluster here and then one of my matted photos here, okay? But if you are working with the pattern, one sheet of paper, you're going to cut it in half at 6 inches, and then you've got that running across both of your left and right hand side pages. And then you're going to need another piece of either cardstock or designer series paper, and you're going to cut 2 strips at 3 inches. Now, when you go to do the assembly of this, you will put your 6-inch piece down first, and that's going to be 3/4 of an inch up from the bottom. And then you're going to run your 3-inch strip across the top of that, and you're going to stick that 1/2 inch up. Now, because I used leftover paper from my scrapbooking workshop kit, I've actually cut this at a 1/2 inch strip, and you will see that my paper is straight on the base of the cardstock there. I cut that at a 1/2 inch, this at 3 inches, and then you would be cutting this at, oh my gosh, I need to do the math here. So 3, 3.5, 4.5, 5.5, 6. This piece would be 2.5 inches if you want to save your paper. So if you don't want to waste paper where you're sticking paper over paper, this obviously originally was a 6-inch piece, but you could actually cut your paper down. So this piece would be 2.5. This piece would be 3 inches, and this piece would be 1/2 inch strip. So I hope that makes sense. I'm happy to pop that in the comments below if you want to save paper. And the only reason I did that is because I was using leftovers from my kit. If I didn't have leftovers, yes, I would have taken 1 sheet of DSP and just cut it in half at 6 inches, and then I would have had that going over both sides. So you've got your master pattern here. Now, your master pattern is showing a 10 by 8 inch photo. You've got an alternate pattern here, which is showing 2 5 by 7 inch photos. The really great thing about this particular layout, where we're doing the bottom border across the top, is that you can really use whatever size orientation photos you want for your layout, okay? And what I've opted for is 6 photos. They are all 4 by 6 inches in length, so I haven't cropped those photos down at all. They're portrait photos, and I've matted every single photo at 6 1/4 by 4 1/4. And I'm actually going to demonstrate to you today how you can do your cutting of your cardstock so you can get your photo mats. So that's going to be part of my demonstration for you today. Now, these photos were taken on the banks of the Murray River, just up near Renmark in the Riverland. We spent a day at a brewery up there. I have scrapbooked some of those photos already, but I kept these 6 photos separate to do a fun series of Kayla and Jai together. I got some really candid shots of them. I just wanted one nice photo. So hard when you got teenagers, guys, right? I'm sure some of you can relate or you can remember. I just wanted one nice photo of Kayla and Jai together, but of course they were mucking around. Jai's got Kayla in a little bit of a headlock here, and they're having some brotherly and sisterly bants or banter. Bants is short for banter. They're having a little bit of banter there, and I took a whole series of fun photos, and when I went to print these photos, I thought this would be really cool to do as a standalone layout of this brotherly and sisterly love here. This particular family holiday we took during COVID, and it was the last family holiday. Actually, no, it was the second last family holiday we had, just the 4 of us. We took another family trip in 2021, which got cut short, and poor Kayla had to go home. Also during COVID, that was towards the end of COVID in Queensland. But I remember taking these photos, and I remember this camping trip that we had together, just thinking how quick time goes and how grateful I was to have had that special, precious family time, just the 4 of us alone together. And I have, in fact, journaled about that here, and I'm going to be demonstrating to you today how you can use this embossing folder to create a journal box and also an embellishment for you there. So when you are thinking about your photos, really, it's not going to matter. You can use whatever size orientation photos you want, but I particularly love this particular pattern because the focus here, you can see you've got this beautiful bottom border down the bottom, and then you've got this series of photos that are running left to right across your Facebook page. Not your Facebook page, Your scrapbook page, girls, your scrapbook page. Okay, so first things first, I want to show you, I've got my trimmer here. I want to show you a technique for cutting your 12 by 12 cardstock down if you're going to do photo mats for your 4 by 6 inch photos. And in fact, I've used leftovers to be able to cut or emboss this cardstock, I should say. Now, I've used Misty Moonlight as my photo mats here. I think that really stood out beautifully against the crumb cake, and it brings in a little bit of the blue in the denim. And they are, in fact, grey tracksuit pants, but you wouldn't know. I think it's just the shadows and the light, not so great, admittedly, there. But I've used Misty Moonlight cardstock, and I have used the two-tone cardstock. You can see here I've used the lighter side of Misty Moonlight for my photo mats and for my embossing here. This is the original side of the two-tone, and then you've got the lighter side over the back there. So I've just got a sheet of cloud cover cardstock. Cloud cover is also another colour which coordinates with this sweet collection, but I just want to demonstrate with your paper trimmer cutting your 12 by 12 inch cardstock down, so you can get 3 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 photo mats out of one 12 by 12 sheet of cardstock. So I'm just lifting up my ruler there, and I'm popping my cardstock in, and I'm going to line this up at 6 1/4. So you want to do your first cut at 6 1/4. So I'm lining my cardstock up at 6 1/4, putting my ruler down, and I'm just bringing my blade up there to cut that. And then we're going to lift that ruler around, and then we're going to turn it on the side, and we're going to align that at 4 1/4. So I am going to get 2 photo mats out of this here. So cutting at 6 1/4, and then again at 4 1/4. All right, so this piece we're not going to use. Now, because I've cut that at, my first cut was at 6 1/4. With that left over there, what I would normally do, so I've got that at 3 1/2. What I would normally do here, I would cut this at 3 1/4. Actually, I'm going to do it right in front of you here. This is what I would normally do with my leftovers, but I would cut that at 3 1/4. And then I would turn that on the side, and I would cut that at 4 1/4. Okay, so I'm going to show you something in just a moment. I'm just going to pop that to the side there. I'll bring that trimmer down a little bit more. Pop that to the side, and then these are going to be my scraps. So I've got this other piece of cardstock left over here. Now you can see that this is not going to be long enough for me to cut it at 6 1/4 again. Okay, so I've already taken the 6 1/4 for those mats. This one I'm going to cut at 4 1/4. When I'm prepping kits, this is literally the cutting that I use. So I'm going to cut that at 4 1/4. Now that strip's going to be left over. And then I'm going to turn that on the side and cut that at 6 1/4. So now I've got 3 photo mats at 6 1/4 by 4 1/4. So you are going to need, if you're going to copy this particular layout, you're going to need 2 sheets of cardstock to get 6 mats, okay, for your portrait or your landscape photos. So this one was at 4 1/4. So I've cut one at 6 1/4, but I'm going to cut another one also at 4 1/4. So if I was to use one sheet of 12 by 12 inch cardstock for scrapbook layout, I've got 3 photo mats for 4 by 6, a photo mat for a 3 by 4, and a photo mat for a 4 by 4. So whether you put that on a single page or across a double page spread, that's going to be your best cutting in terms of orientation for photos. And then I've got a leftover 12-inch strip, I've got a 1/4 inch strip, and I've got these 2 little pieces left over. I mean, you could use this as a journal box if you wanted to, or a mat for a journal box. You could cut this down in 1/2 inch strips if you want, and you could use this as embellishment. So they're going to be my scraps, and I've got 5 photo mats out of one 12 by 12 inch, one 12 by 12 inch piece of cardstock. Now, because I've shown you that, I need to get another piece of cardstock because I actually, when I cut these 3 mats out, I used leftover from my cardstock to cut my, to do my embossing of that piece of paper here. So let me just go, because I wasn't going to show you that initially, and I did, but what I am going to do is just cut down some of my scraps. So this is actually handy to share with you. This is my Peaceful Days Scrapbooking Workshop kit, and these are the leftovers, okay? So this is all your leftovers that you're going to have here. You can see I've got some cloud cover in here, some pecan pie, and some crumb cake, and then these are my leftover bits of pattern paper. I have used, this was left over from the kit, and also this was left over too. So I've been able to get another 12 by 12 double page scrapbook layout out of this. And now I just need to remember, I reckon this would have been about the leftover. Let me grab my embossing folder to show you, make sure that that's going to fit in here. Yep, perfect. Okay, that's going to work. All right, I'll pop that to the side. So what I wanted to say to you is that when I cut these 3 photo mats down, I had leftover cardstock to be able to make this from my leftovers. And I didn't show you that because I ended up showing you how to cut down a 12 by 12 sheet of cardstock and get 5 photo mats out of it. So I hope that makes sense. Give me a thumbs up. Who is watching today? We've got Jill on. Hi, Jill. How are you? Who else is here? I can't quite see that on my... Oh, Gail is here. Hi, Gail. Thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up if you guys are with me. I threw a little bit of a spanner in the works there, but I'm sure that you are all following along. Okay, so I've got my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine here, and I have got my 3D Peaceful Greenery embossing folder here. So we're going to do some embossing today. I've got a little bit of the cardstock, and I'm going to get my plates for the embossing. And to do the embossing, we only need plate 1 and plate 4. So the instructions are on the front of your plates here. And I am doing the 3D embossing folder, so that's why I only need plate 1 and plate 4. If you are going to be embossing with a standard embossing folder, then you're also going to need both of your 3 plates, but you'll omit your 4 plates. So just check that you've got all of your folders in the order that you need them to be before you do the embossing. Now, this is going to be a little long, but that's okay. We can work with what we've got. So what I'm going to do is pop my cardstock inside the embossing folder like so. I'm not going to tape that in. We're just going to wing that. And, oh, I need this to be around the right way. That would be helpful, wouldn't it, Sarah? I've got Miss Abby joining us today as well. Hi, Abby. Thanks so much for joining. This is my fun Facebook Live Technique Tuesday on a Wednesday. So I've got plate 1 down. I'm putting my 3D embossing folder with the cardstock already inserted in next. Then I've got plate 4 over the top. So this is my little embossing sandwich. And we're going to pop it in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss. And I'm just running this through my embossing machine. So I'm going to pop that away. And look at this magic. So fun. When I open this up, voila! I'm just going to get my trimmer because I want to trim this excess off. You're not going to have that excess. So if you were to take 1 sheet of cardstock and cut your 3 photo mats, the piece that you will have left over will be a perfect fit for this embossing folder. Now, I'm just going to measure. That's probably about 1/2 inch from the edge of the paper to where the embossing starts. So let's take 1/2 inch off of here. I'm just going to line that up. I'll bring that out about 1/2 inch. And then that should be even. Yep, there we go. So this really now, this is where I've made my journal card, okay? So I journaled inside this area here. So you can see that this particular embossing folder is perfect for a card front. And I'm going to grab the September mini catalogue out towards the end and show you where you can find these products in your catalogue. And you will see all of the artwork pretty much features cards using this embossing folder. So I wanted to show you an alternative with this embossing folder, but on a scrapbooking layout, okay? And depending on which way you want your cardstock up, this is the original side of cloud cover, and this is the lighter side. So you want to give some consideration to that when you're doing the embossing. You can see here, I have actually embossed it upright, and then I realized that this color didn't match my mats, so I had to do another one. But that's where I got the really fun idea to fussy cut out this border here and then use that on the other side of my layout. And this has now become my base for my embellishment cluster, okay? So that is a really fun technique there for you. So I've used this as my journaling card here. So I have journaled inside this section here, and because it was quite big, I sort of didn't want it, like it was taking up a fair bit of room here because I've obviously used 4x6 inch photos. So what I did here was I put it on a little bit of an angle. I made sure that the angle of my journal card matched the angle of this particular photo here, and I stuck it down, and then I just got some scissors and I've cut off the excess here at the bottom of the page. And then I got my 12-inch ruler and I lined up where my scrap piece was going to fit in line with this bottom piece. And I've stuck this flush against the edge of the top of my 12-inch cardstock base. And then it just adds a really fun kind of pattern there that makes it look like this journal card is meant to go the whole way down. I love it. I think it looks really cool, and it's a great way to use up your scraps for sure as well. What I did on the other side here, these stickers, I actually had some stickers left over from my scrapbooking workshop kit, and I'm going to share all of the 3 layouts with you today. You can see here now I've used all of my stickers. So I've used the stickers on the 3 layouts for the scrapbooking workshop kit, and then I had some stickers left over, and I thought this would be fun to put them on the page, and it got me thinking, let's fussy cut this out. So I'm just going to grab my snips. So essentially what you're going to do is you're going to cut out, emboss 2 of these. I just went straight through, but I was upside down. Okay, so I've actually cut it up the other way, so then I'm using this raised part of my little border here, and I'm going to fussy cut this out. And because I'm doing it up the other way, this raised part acts as a border. So you're going to want to emboss. I'm doing this a little bit rushed here so it doesn't look super neat and tidy. You're going to want to emboss 2 pieces the same size, and you're going to use one for your journal card and the other one you're going to use as your base for your embellishment cluster. So I think this is a super cool idea. Now, if you don't have, this also would be great as like a tag. If you don't have a die cut in the shape of a tag, or you don't have, if you don't have any die cuts in the shape of a tag, you could use this embossing folder to emboss and fussy cut and make your own tags, okay? So now, I know I've cut into this twice, which I actually did by accident because I really only need to cut into it once. I could still use this leftover now as a photo mat. So I could stick a photo over the top of this And then where this piece has been cut here, I could put a sticker or some embellishment and you wouldn't even know that you've actually cut into that. So whilst I've cut this middle part out, you don't have to throw that whole embossed piece out. You could actually use that for something else. I could put that on a card front. I could use that on another scrapbook page. And then you would just stick over the top where you've cut, so you wouldn't even know. So this is the one I have cut out earlier. So I've ended up using that as a frame for my embellishment cluster here. I've popped this up on some Stampin' Dimensionals, and then this sticker I've used Stampin' Dimensionals. I've tucked the other two stickers under here, and then I've used these cute little hues of blues flowers. So I bought these separately, and I've actually used these on my layouts from my scrapbooking workshop kit. So I've just added a couple of these little gems here, the little flowers. I've used them there, and then also on this layout here just next to my journal box, just to add a little bit of bling, because as you hear me say all the time, who doesn't love a little bit of bling, girls? So I really hope that you enjoyed that particular technique today, and now I would like to share with you the 3 scrapbooking layouts. I have got these in memory protectors already. Now, I very rarely share layouts with you ladies that do not have photos on them, but I'm saving these layouts for some photos that I'm going to be taking later in the year. So this is layout number 1, Good Times. You've got this beautiful floral pattern that runs through. You've got this peaceful dove here. This is layout number 2. If you were to look at the artwork and the photos online and in the catalogue, you will see that it's got a little bit of a white Christmas vibe to it with the photos. And then, of course, this last layout here does have Christmas trees as the stickers, okay? So if you've got white Christmas photos, or even it doesn't have to be white Christmas, you could use these on normal Christmas photos. In fact, one of the things I love to do at Christmas time is when I'm out and about is to take photos of all the Christmas decorations that I see like in the shopping malls or stores. And in fact, this tree, this blue tree, reminds me of the tree that they put up in the Tiffany store on North Terrace in Adelaide, girls. So it might not be a white Christmas. It might actually just be Christmas themed photos, activities that you do in the lead up to Christmas. Like you've got Santa's workshop, you've got the Magic Cave. This is definitely giving Magic Cave vibes and colors. You've got the Christmas pageant. You could just, if you're funny about making sure that the colors in your photos match the colors on your scrapbooking papers, just make sure that you're printing them in black and white, okay? So not funny if you're funny, if you're particular. And sometimes I am too. Like I look at the colors and they're beautiful, but the colors don't match in my photos. So that is when I would print my photos in black and white. I do that a lot for football photos because quite often when I go to the football and I take lots of photos, it is hard to match the colors of the photos from your sports teams in with the Stampin' Up colours. Okay, so the Peaceful Days Scrapbooking Workshop Kit, they're the 3 layouts I just shared with you. You'll find this on pages 10 and 11. As you can see here, you've got a bit of a white Christmas theme. There's some snow photos here, and this is just a travel photos, but obviously still in the snow. So that's your Peaceful Days Scrapbooking Workshop Kit. And then if you would prefer to do scrapbooking or card making your way, you've got the Creativity Your Way section here. So this is the Peaceful Garden Suite, and I've just shared with you the kit, but you can also get the Designer Series paper on its own. There's a coordinating stamp set. This is the embossing folder that I just shared with you, the Peaceful Greenery 3D embossing folder. I also shared the Hues of Blues flowers. So I did buy a separate pack of these to put on my scrapbooking workshop kit layouts. And then this is the beautiful Misty Moonlight and Silver Edged ribbon as well for some separate products. And then in this top corner here, we've got the gorgeous Peaceful Garden glimmer paper. So this is 6 sheets of glimmer paper, which is basically just glitter paper, and you've got them in the colors. There's like a blue, a soft green, and a dark gray. So they're not actually named the colors that coordinate with Peaceful Garden as such. And those colors are Cloud Cover, Misty Moonlight, Secret Sea, Pecan Pie, Crumb Cake, and Basic Beige. Okay, so you can buy your components individually and use them in your scrapbooking or your card making. Now, at the back of your mini, we've got a new section which is called, well, it's new to the mini. It's called Scrapbooking from Scratch. So if you want to build on your scrapbooking workshop kit, or you want to pick a pattern like I've shared with you today and create your pattern from scratch, you can invest in the Peaceful Garden and sticker sheet. So this is the DSP with the stickers. This is the same sticker sheet that you get in the scrapbooking workshop kit. So you might want to give note to that in case you don't want to double up. You don't get all of these papers in the scrapbooking workshop kit. You're only going to get exactly what you need in the scrapbooking workshop kit to create these layouts. This is your step-by-step crafting. And so this whole point of this kit is that you are consuming versus collecting the product. Okay, you won't have many leftovers at all, as I shared with you earlier. So just keep that in mind. And then there's also the coordinating cardstock pack as well. And you can get 2 sheets of each of those colors, which coordinate with the papers, the stickers, and the stamps. And you can see I've added in the glimmer paper, the embossing folder, the flowers, and the ribbons, just for added embellishment as well. So I hope that you have found my Technique Tuesday video helpful for you today, ladies. I can't wait to see the patterns, the layouts that you guys come up with this week. And before I close, I also have the lucky draw to do today for the Stampin' Rewards. So a very big thank you to those of you that came to my mini catalogue launch and open house on Friday night. I had 24 in attendance and 16 of you are in the draw. So you needed to place an order at my open house or before Monday night, and you were going to go into the draw to win $50 worth of Stampin' Rewards. So I have got those 16 names in my little box here, and I'm going to turn around so I cannot see who I'm picking out. But one lucky winner is going to win $50 worth of Stampin' Rewards, and the lucky winner is Tyler Clayson. Congratulations to you, Tyler. I'm going to tag you in this video, and I'm going to send $50 to you in Stampin' Rewards directly to your account. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining in on this week's Technique Tuesday on a Wednesday. Have a great week, and I cannot wait to see what you create this week. Bye for now.